Hey guys, I'm Larissa, and today I'm going to give you all of my Be Our Guest tips and tricks. It's one of my favorite restaurants at Magic Kingdom, and I try to work it in on almost every trip because I just absolutely love it, and I've learned a few things here and there that I hope might be helpful for you. First of all, this is definitely a restaurant you want to try and get your reservation for as quickly as you can. Try for that 180-day window because this is definitely one of those restaurants that will be booked solid some days. I personally really only feel that lunch is really a good value. If you've never eaten there before though, and you're really wanting to get in there, go for any meal. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. I definitely think it's worth it once. After that, I would go for lunch. I feel breakfast and dinner are a little overpriced for what you're gonna get, and you get the same ambience no matter what time you go. Once you have your reservation, the hard part's over. Now just show up 15 minutes before your reservation. As you're looking at the Beast Castle, there's a bridge that leads up to it. Before you get onto the bridge, to the left is a little turret. You can check in right there with a couple of cast members that'll be waiting to help you. Once you've checked in, you're gonna go down pretty much the right side of the bridge. Doesn't really matter, but anyone leaving the restaurant is probably gonna be hugging left, so it's usually just a little bit better to hug right. At the end of the bridge is some self-serve ice water, but I'm gonna admit that I see that empty pretty often, especially if it's even remotely warm outside. But it's there if you need it, and at this point they're also going to give you a menu to start looking over. I definitely recommend taking a look at the children's menu section. It's going to be very similar items to the entrees with some slight shifts, and they are going to be slightly smaller portions, but I personally feel they're a better bargain for the amount you're going to pay. The items do tend to be slightly different on the kids menu. For instance, instead of a grilled ham and cheese sandwich, it's just a grilled cheese sandwich, but it still includes a side, and it also includes a beverage. Now, you can get like a juice or a milk, but I personally recommend getting the water. It is going to be a bottled water, it's going to be a small one, but still that's really convenient to just throw in your bag and take with you when you leave. So nice. Then you can top off your own water bottle later at your convenience, or you can drink it in there. Whatever you want to do. I just feel like that's a little extra added benefit. You get only a slight bit less food, but the price is definitely less, and it's almost less by just enough to make it worth getting that cupcake that you may have been eyeballing. As you step into the castle, they'll ask you how many people are in your party. I've only gone to the right one time, and I was with a whole family at that point, and there were a lot of us, and we went down the hallway through all these suits of armor and whatnot to a big room with a bunch of cast members at kiosks with a whole register system that took our order there. However, usually it's either just myself or my husband and I, and we are directed to the left. There is still a cast member there that takes our order, but it's a much smaller line normally since there's only the two of us. I guess they're just not set up there to be able to handle larger orders, but it works out pretty well. It's sort of like a single rider line kind of concept. At either side, once they've taken your order, they're either going to scan your magic band or they're going to give you a little plastic puck. This is going to be how the servers know where to take your order later. Once you finish the ordering process, it is up to you to seat yourself, and you have a choice of 3 different rooms to dine in. The first room you enter after ordering is the ballroom, and it is so pretty. Personally, this is my favorite room to dine in. It's just so gorgeous and magical. I absolutely love it in there. I do feel like this is the room to go to if you have a smaller party, 1, 2, 3, 4 people maybe, because there tend to be a lot smaller tables, I feel, in that room. From the ballroom, the room to your right is going to be the gallery. This room is also very pretty, and there's a lot of little things that you can walk around and look at. I don't feel it's quite as distracting though as the other rooms. There is a gigantic spinning music box sort of dancing Beast and Belle. Very cute, but after you've watched them revolve a couple times, I'm kind of over that. But some of the other rooms are a little more distracting. They have a little bit more visually going on, which might be a good reason to dine in the gallery if you have some distracted young ones. If they're easily distracted and you want them to just finish eating, maybe try the gallery. I also feel like it's usually easier to find bigger tables in that room, so if you have a larger party, another good reason to dine in there. From the ballroom, but to your left, is the West Wing. This is clearly the showstopper room of the restaurant. It's got the most going on, it's a little more time sensitive, it's smallest, and it's usually packed. It's also kind of dark in there, so I personally find it a little bit difficult to actually eat in that room. It's cool though if you've never been in there, can be worth eating there, but I honestly kind of recommend dining in one of the other rooms, especially if you've been in the West Wing before, because after you dine, you can walk around and see the whole restaurant. Take your time, get pictures, get video. There's definitely more to see and do in the West Wing, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to sit there and eat for it. As the storm builds, check out Prince Adam's portrait. Very cool. There's also the Enchanted Rose, which is absolutely beautiful, and you should definitely check that out. But like I said, you don't necessarily need to dine in that room. People seem to feel like they have to eat in that room. I don't personally feel that's necessary. If there's only one or two of you, don't be afraid to look for a large table that only has one or two people already seated at it. I've definitely a couple of times had, say, a table of 6 that 2 people were sitting at one end, and then I asked if I could please use the chairs on the other ends. Both times, everyone was very accepting about that, very polite. Once you've chosen a table, set your receipt out somewhere clearly visible. If you were given a little plastic puck, I would put that right next to the receipt. But if you had your band scanned, I recommend that the person who had their band scanned stays at the table at this point, because remember, that's how they're going to know where to bring your food. For instance, on this last trip, my magic band was scanned, so I stayed at the table while my husband went and got napkins, silverware, and filled up our water bottles, because that's all self-serve at Be Our Guest. There's a whole big setup in each room where they will have all the fountain drinks, a whole selection of flatware, paper napkins. If you want, you can fill up your water bottles, you can get whatever pop you ordered. That's all right there. It's self-serve. I recommend getting it as quickly as you can though and getting back to the table. Sometimes it takes the food a while to get there, but I've had it also show up really quickly. Now you just have to wait for the server to push around the big fancy cart and give you your food. They will check your receipt, make sure you don't need anything else, and now you're free to enjoy your meal at your own leisure. After you're done eating, you can feel free to wander about at your own pace and enjoy the wonderful sights. There's lots to see. It's absolutely beautiful. Get some great pictures and make some wonderful memories. I hope this was helpful. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time.